Hello and welcome to the Bundesliga Show. Once again, we're back for obviously the second part of the double header tonight. You've already had Runa and Rory for the fantasy show, and now you've got me and Cam for the predictions ahead of Matchweek 3 of the Bundesliga 2025-26 season. So yeah, how are you doing over there, Cam? I see you've got a nice brand new number on today as well.
Yeah, little 20 quid job from Vinted, so I can't complain. But I'm good, mate. The weather is dismal here in the UK, as to be expected, really. We're in September now, so it's almost winter by British terms, isn't it? So, but just glad the international break's over and we got some proper football to digest over the next weekend. So, yeah, all good. High spirits.
Yeah, that is true. But I mean, at least England did kind of come good, didn't he, against Serbia in the back
Yeah.
end? That was a rare good watch for a qualifier, to be fair. But obviously, as for Germany, it wasn't that good news for them, was it,
Yeah.
after that embarrassing 2-0 loss against Slovakia? So, yeah,
Yeah, and
mixed
the Northern
results.
Ireland one was poor as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, the Germans are not happy, I can say that much. Yeah, they're really
Yeah.
down on the national team at the minute, and they'll be looking forward to some Bundesliga football to kind of get the spirits high again back in the Bundesrepublik. So yeah, before we get started properly, we're just going to remind you that obviously we are in partnership with Bundesliga Boxes as well, and also Covert Footy Trips too, which is Rich's fantastic double header brand over in the UK, based in Norwich. Check them out for your Bundesliga and Serie A match days too. For any kind of football travelers out there, he will arrange your complete trip. Travel, accommodation, and match day tickets all in one package. So definitely well worth checking out as well. And obviously Bully News as well, Runa's fantastic site, which obviously Cam is also an integral part of too. So go and check them out for all of your footy news in the Bundesrepublik here in Germany. So yeah, match week 3, Cam. I mean, it's been a bit of a weird season so far, hasn't it? Because we've had basically 2 weeks, then that kind of never-ending international break, really.
Yeah.
And now we're back, and it feels like we've been underway quite a while now, but we're still only on match week 3, aren't we? So, and we are starting with a pretty interesting match. Some would even say the most interesting match of the weekend this year, obviously between two of last season's top 4 clubs. Bayer 04 Leverkusen and Eintracht Frankfurt. Obviously, the Leverkusen have pretty much stolen the show so far this season, haven't they? With the absurd sacking of Erik ten Hag after just 3 competitive matches, and obviously only 2 in the league. That has to be some kind of record, really, over there. But they take on high flyers, really. Dino Topmuller's, Eintracht Frankfurt, who've been really, really good so far this season, haven't they? Obviously, thrashing their 2 opponents, really 4-1 and 3-1, respectively. So go on, Cam. I'm going to throw it over to you. What are you thinking for this one?
Well, it's going to be interesting to see Kasper Hjulmand, whether it's too soon to have a real impact on the side. I think I've pronounced that correct because I was asking our good Bully News friend Runa about that today for some Danish inspiration. But yeah, I think it's too soon really to give too much of a sort of judgment on that. But I just think Frankfurt, they're high flying, and I can only see it going one way. And I've actually gone 3-1 for Frankfurt. I just think in the final third this season, they look a completely different animal. When you compare, they'd lost Marmoush and then Ekitike in the summer, 2 huge players, but they just seem a completely different team in the final third. Whereas last season, they were much more of a counter-attacking side, weren't they? Yeah. But I think, in the 2 matches they've had to really take the onus and go and beat the sides in the way they have. And I think Leverkusen are going to be vulnerable this weekend, as they have been this season so far. I think it's too soon for the manager to have that much of an impact. So, yeah, I've gone for 3-1 to Frankfurt.
Yeah. And I think Rory obviously agrees with you as well. He's also gone for a 3-1 Frankfurt win. It's going to be a real cracking watch tomorrow night, isn't it? Really looking forward to it. But to be honest, I think I'm on the same wavelength as you, Cam, and Rory as well. I just feel as though Kasper Hjulmand won't have had quite enough time to kind of, implement his style. It was a bit of a left field appointment anyway, because when Ten Hag was first sacked, I mean, it seemed as though it was Terzic and Rosa who were most linked, wasn't it, at that time? But I mean, the former Denmark manager has obviously ended up getting the punt. Let's not forget as well that he has already been in the Bundesliga before too, at Mainz. It seems as though Mainz only employ
Danish guys,
but he actually had a bit of a nightmare there, from what I can gather. Like he only lasted about 8 months and went on a really long, I think about an 8 to 10 match unbeaten run as well, and winless run, I should say, in there as well. So yeah, I mean, it's a bit of an interesting appointment. You know, he did win the league with Nordsjælland as well in Denmark. That's his biggest success so far. Obviously, did have a good stint with Denmark as well. Let's not forget that. I think that's it.
Just on what you just said about the national team, though, obviously I'm not the biggest Denmark expert to talk about this, but they were fantastic at Euro 2020, obviously, which was played in 2021. They were fantastic. Obviously, took us all the way in the semi-finals.
They did.
Looking like they were going to beat us for a long time. But I just think the last 2 tournaments, especially the World Cup, they were very underwhelming, considering the quality that they've got in their side now. In comparison to years gone by, they've got some good players. And obviously, last summer at the Euros, unlucky to go out against the hosts. But I think everyone was expecting them to be somewhat of a dark horse, not saying they're going to go and win it, but they've always been that side that you're looking at of saying they've got the quality to maybe put on a run going to the last stages, and they just haven't been able to do that since 2021. So, yeah, it's an interesting one. Obviously, international management's very different to club management. So, yeah, really looking forward to seeing how this one plays out, to be honest. And I think none of us really have any expectations or really any hopes at the minute. It's just going in blind. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, obviously Leverkusen's season is kind of in the doldrums really at the minute, isn't it? I mean, a lot of people saying that they're not even really European contenders. Let's not forget as well, it's pretty much an entirely different lineup as well that's going to be coming out for this game. So it is an interesting one. And I've sided with you, as most people are saying. I've gone for a Frankfurt win, also 3-1 as well. I just feel as though there's so much quality in this attack from Frankfurt, and they really have impressed the first 2 games. My old boy Nürnberger Chanozun as well has just been outstanding so far. I think Ritsu Doan has just been one of the signings of the season as well. He's not disappointed at all the first 2 games. So I like the formation he's playing too, with that really wide midfield with kind of Larsen as the pivot. It just looks really good at the minute. So I've also gone for a 3-1 win. Obviously, they might be a little bit affected. I mean, they'll have had players all over the world this window as well. And I always feel as though the Friday night games are a little bit harsh, really, especially when you've got the teams with a lot of players in Europe and international players and things. It seems a bit early, but I've gone for a 3-1. So we agree on the first prediction, Cam. So yeah, a game that's quite close to you as well, obviously. So I'm going to let you lead out on this one. It's a BaWu derby of sorts, even though there's like 200 kilometers between these 2 teams. But go on, let us know what you think.
It's one side, the Freiburg side will tell you it's a derby. The Stuttgart side will tell you it's not a derby. It's one of those. This is, when I was thinking of this one today, I wrote the match preview as well. I just have the feeling that Freiburg have to get points on the board at some point. And I was at this exact fixture last year on match day 1, and they were able to come from a goal behind and win 3-1 eventually. And it really just kick-started their season in perfect fashion on home soil. And I just think this fixture again would be the perfect way to do so. But I don't think they're going to get a win, because I do think that their form has been, I mean, against Koln, how on earth that happened, I will never know. The loss against Augsburg, you can sort of take with a pinch of salt. It's Sandro Wagner's first game. And then Augsburg went on to play brilliantly in the second half again against Bayern. So they're looking like a decent outfit this season. But Freiburg, we spoke about it last season at times, didn't we, about things potentially going stale with the sort of same lineup again since they really started kicking on up the upper echelons of the Bundesliga. Was it around 2019-20 that they really started to kick on? Guys like Lucas Höhler, brilliant striker on his day, brilliant sort of servant to the club, but is he the man that should be leading the line for a club chasing the European football? I'm not too sure. Stuttgart, they've brought in some new players, obviously El Canuso, I'm very excited to see. But that lack of striker, I can see really hindering the club towards Christmas before they can hopefully get somebody in January. It's a lot for Demirovic to handle now with sort of the league, DFB Pokal and the Europa League. So that's going to be interesting. But I think this is going to end in a draw this weekend. I'm saying 2-2. I think Freiburg will get a point on the board. And for Stuttgart, it's not disastrous to go to a place where the hosts are obviously going to be up for it and do see it as a quote-unquote derby. So, yeah, I'm going to go 2-2.
Yeah, good tip. Yeah, but it is an interesting one. This, I think, let's not forget that Freiburg do traditionally have a good record in this fixture as well. They have caused Stuttgart a lot of problems in this fixture the last 3, 4, 5 years, even. Beating the team on a number of occasions. I think Stuttgart have only won this fixture once in the last 4 seasons. So
that was the 4-0 last year.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that was one of Freiburg's kind of worst performances last season, wasn't it? But I definitely don't see that happening again this season. Freiburg, as you say, I mean, on paper, it's a disastrous start, ultimately getting thrashed at home to Augsburg and then completely humiliated away against Koln. I mean, they'd have been looking at 6 points really there at the start of the season, wouldn't they? And obviously, not only got 0 points, they've also had 7 goals against them, only 2 goals scored, and 2 really poor performances, truth be told. They are obviously missing Doan already. I mean, obviously the signing of Bester just hasn't worked out at all so far. So hopefully he's going to get a bit of game time this weekend. Something tells me that we're going to see an improved performance from Freiburg, though. I think if Freiburg lose this, especially if they lose with a poor performance, you could maybe even classify them as relegation fodder, I would say. So it'd be looking that bad. Normally, teams that have really poor starts do tend to struggle in the Bundesliga. They don't normally go flying off very quickly. So this is a massive game. For me, it's a bigger game for Freiburg than it is for Stuttgart. So I've actually gone for a bit of a kind of semi-shock in this one. I've gone for a Freiburg win. I think they're going to be able to turn it on in this one. I've gone for a 2-1 home win. I just feel as though the magnitude of the game, the fact that, Schuster will have really kind of got them going for this game in my eyes. And I just feel as though they are going to get the 2-1 home win in my eyes. Should be a good game, though. It's always a decent fixture between these teams, and quite looking forward to that one on Saturday afternoon.
I think as well, the break probably came at the exact right time for Freiburg as well. You couldn't ask for a better time for an international break, could you really?
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. And I think a lot of players haven't gone on international break, either due to poor form or just never really being selected. So I think that Ila really said, look, we need a win here. We badly need a win, because European football gets started pretty soon as well. So Stuttgart have been a little bit underwhelming for me as well, the first 2 games. So I do believe it's going to be a Freiburg win, I feel. So, yeah, Rory thinks a draw as well. You're agreeing a lot with Rory this week, Cam. So, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to the next game, which is another pretty tasty-looking clash between Mainz and Leipzig. So, yeah, I'll lead out on this one. I mean, obviously, Mainz, poor start, really, against Köln, but then I felt as though they were quite good against Wolfsburg and could quite easily have won that game. I think Sieb hit the bar very late on in that match, and they had a really good second half where you really started to think, they look half decent again. They're probably going to be relying on Viper again, because I believe Hollerbach is going to be missing for this game as well. I think Viper is still yet to show his top form in league level, but obviously in under 21s, he's banging the goals. So I think he's a high potential player, and this is a good chance for him to kind of, get a few minutes under his belt and get a start in this game. So Mainz look relatively well positioned. I did feel as though they played quite well against Wolfsburg and probably quite unlucky not to win the game. As for Leipzig, it's also been a mixed start for them. Obviously, they had that embarrassing loss against Bayern on the opening day, but then they did fight back to a comfortable win over Heidenheim in the second game. For Leipzig, we still don't really know what kind of team they want to go for. Obviously, Olive Werner's new at the club as well. There's a lot of change there. I mean, Bakayoko has really not started well in his first 2 games. I think he's been subbed off very early in both of them. He was obviously the big summer signing. Diomande has also not exactly torn up any trees in his first couple of games. So there's still a little bit of work. But I think Romelu looks a potential star this season. The kind of proper number 9. It's a tough one to predict this, but I've actually gone for a draw in this one. I fancy the 1-1 draw. I just feel as though these two teams might cancel each other out. And at this early stage of the season, they might be both pretty happy with the point in this one. Cam?
I've gone for 2-0, 2-1 to Leipzig, sorry. I just think they'll have that bit more than Mainz. I think for Mainz, though, it would be a big confidence boost, them actually being qualified for the Conference League now. That was sort of they had a really congested sort of run, didn't they, at the start of the season with the Rosenborg fixture as well as the Cup and then the league.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
The league was basically an afterthought for the first 2 weeks, wasn't it? And then obviously they lost the first leg against Rosenborg. So then the second leg was huge, which they managed to get through. So that'll be a big sort of thing out of the way now. But I still think that Leipzig, as much as we don't know much about them as of now, I still think they've got enough quality. Looking forward to seeing Conrad Harder as well, another person that Runa spoke a lot about in the Bully News chat. So, yeah, looking forward to seeing some of him. And, yeah, I just think they've got too much quality. So I've gone for 2-1.
Yeah, good tip. So, yeah, I'm going to let you lead out on game 4, Cam. And it's another interesting one, really, Wolfsburg Koln.
Yeah, this was one of those that I was looking at today. And Wolfsburg and Gladbach last season were the two teams that I just could not predict for the life of me. And I think it's going to start again the same this season because I think Köln have started really well.
Yeah.
Against Mainz, they had to be resolute. They weren't the best against Mainz, but the weekend after at Freiburg, that was sensational. Yeah. I don't think anyone would have predicted them scoring 4 goals this season at all, never mind against a side that are expected to be in the European race. And I've just got that sneaky feeling that they'll sneak something again. And I think they've had a fantastic start. They've got the wind in their sails. The manager and his obsession with wearing replica kits now, which is somewhat iconic in the Bundesliga. So, yeah, as I can see Rory in the comments, the FC party goes on, and I've gone for 2-1 for the visitors.
Yeah, I mean, Kwasniok, obviously the new co-manager, is really kind of making a name for himself already, isn't he? It's almost like prime Baumgart 2.0, really, isn't it? Like, obviously Baumgart had his crazy little flat cap going on, and Kwasniok turns up in the replica kits and things. Yeah, I mean, Köln has always been a club for characters, really, hasn't it? And it looks like they found another character there in the Polish manager. But yeah, as you say, they were outstanding against Freiburg. They just annihilated a team that finished 5th in the league last year. And I also thought it was back to the wall against Mainz too. I mean, a win away at Mainz is always a good result. Yeah. You know, obviously they finished 6th last year. So they deserve a lot of credit too for that victory. It's 2 brilliant wins, and they'll fancy the chances in this game. Because Wolfsburg, you just do not know what's going to come from them. For me, I've no idea really about Wolfsburg. One thing I will say is I think the pickup of Christian Eriksen was a good pickup.
Massive, yeah.
I think he's going to give them. He's a very mature, intelligent player, you know, and I think he's going to give Wolfsburg, along with Maxi Arnold, he's going to give them a little bit more stability in that midfield. I doubt he'll start this game because I believe he's been training with Malmö over in Sweden. And I don't think he's going to start this game, but we might potentially see a bit of him in the back end, the last 20 minutes or so. Especially if Wolfsburg are leading this game, they might want to bring him on to kind of, see it out. But I've also got a feeling for Köln here. I just feel as though the stars are aligning for a team that have obviously had quite a few poor years in a row, really. But I feel as though they're in for a really good season this year. The balance looks good. I think Bulter he's finally found a club. I've always liked Bulter as a player, and I just feel as though he's found a team now that he can really go and get 15, 20 goals potentially this season. And just everything, you know, Kaminski has been fantastic, and it's just all looking good. Thielmann looks as though he's finally got to the level we all expected he would get to a bit earlier in his career. So I've gone for a 2-0 win here for Köln. We might be over-exaggerating them a little bit, and we might get brought back down to earth a little bit, but I just feel as though they're just a good team, to be honest. Yeah, from what I've watched both of the games so far this season, I think they were great for different reasons in both matches. So I see enough in them, enough momentum and enough quality ultimately to get them over the line for a 2-0 win here. A few people asking what happened to Amura. Yeah, I think basically it seems though he wanted a move in the summer, and I think it's a case of maybe they were trying to sell him, get some money, but we might see him potentially start because obviously he didn't get that move.
Wolfsburg wanted big money, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, I mean, he is a good player. He's a quality player, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him rolled back out for this game. To be honest, I think the reason why he started on the bench the first 2 weeks was because they kind of expected to sell him, basically. So that's why I would imagine he will start in this game. And Jonas Wind as well. Let's not forget he's not started as well so far this season. So it's
Patrick Wimmer, the most consistently inconsistent player.
Yeah, he is for sure. Yeah, really. I still never know what to think from him week in, week out. But Wolfsburg, 4 points from 2 games, will be relatively happy with that anyway. But there is still quality in that squad, and this should be a pretty good game as well between 2 pretty informed teams. But we're both going for Köln on this one. So yeah, Union Berlin, Hoffenheim. What can we say about this one? I mean, this should be another good game. It's 2 teams that have had mixed starts. Obviously, Hoffenheim had that amazing win on the opening day, which basically kind of, in a weird way, kind of put the one and only nail in Erik ten Hag's coffin, really, with that home defeat. As for Union, they had an amazing but rather lucky win over Stuttgart, I would say. Obviously, Rennerve was just on fire in that game, the goalkeeper, to basically stop 3 or 4 Stuttgart goals, really, in that match. But it was still an impressive win. They were thrashed away at Dortmund, but I mean, both of these 2 teams have had really hard starts on paper, actually playing, the strongest teams in the Bundesliga, really. So this is probably the first time either of these teams will go into a game thinking, we can really win it. Even though both of them obviously picked up a win already this season. But for me, Hoffenheim do look the better side this year. I still feel as though they are a good team. I particularly like the look of the Elversberg 2 loanees, Aslani and Damar. I think Damar's not started yet, but he did get a goal for the U21s in midweek, and he's going to come good, I think, this season too. They signed well. I feel as though they've got quality in the team. We'll have to see if Berger manages to get back for this match. They did miss him against Frankfurt the last time out. Obviously, Machida, unfortunately, is going to be out with the ACL injury, which is a blow to them. As for Union, it's pretty turgid football, really, isn't it? They try to nick the 1-0s, and that's all they can really do because it is a squad lacking Bundesliga quality, really, this season, I feel. I know you're not a big fan of Baumgart, really, are you, really? You mentioned that he's not really the kind of manager you can build a team around. So I've actually gone for an away win here, which is probably not going to please that many Bundesliga fans, to be honest. But I feel as though Hoffenheim should get the win here. I've gone for a 2-1 TSG win. Cam?
I was just reading the comment. Stuttgart did want Aslani as well, from what we know. This is such a difficult one because I think you mentioned that the sort of lucky win against Stuttgart earlier in the season, but I just think that's Union Berlin at home all over. That is just what they do. It's how many years has this happened? The reason they're still in the Bundesliga is because of their home form at the end of the day. And whilst I don't think that Baumgart is the most progressive manager or the manager you should be looking at long term, he's the guy to get them results at home. And I think Hoffenheim have looked good, but whenever I watch Union Berlin at home, unless it's against one of the big boys, mainly Bayern, to be honest, I think they can beat anybody. And it's the same again this weekend. I've actually gone for a 1-0 to the host. It won't be high scoring. I just think that at the first eye, it's just what we've come to expect nowadays. And it's never the most entertaining watch, is it? I remember there was the 0-0 against Freiburg on a Friday night last year. Yeah. I think I covered that game and it was the worst 90 minutes of football I've ever seen. But gone are the days of the high-flying Union getting into the Champions League, eh?
Yeah, I do remember that 4-4 last year against Stuttgart. That when all the goals came. I mean, what was going on? I mean, the Union diehards must have been going crazy there because I mean, you don't normally see that many goals in Union games anyway, do you? Really? So,
well, they were all screamers, to be fair, and
they were. Yeah, that was a hell of a game. I mean, it was a kind of end of season, not that much line on it for either team, but. I mean, that was a hell of a game, and obviously they did Stuttgart again this season, didn't they? So
but I think it's very sort of typical of this Union team, though, is that they rely on moments of madness, don't they?
Yeah,
they never create goals out of pure creativity or imagination. it's either a set piece or a moment of magic, and that was shown in the Stuttgart 4-4 last season, the 2-1 win at the start of the season, when they were very poor away from home against Dortmund, as to be expected. But yeah, they rely too much on, as I say, moments of magic or set pieces for me than any sort of creativity. But I still think that, judging by what they seem to do every time I watch them at home, the same will happen this weekend.
Yeah, it's highly possible, you know. Obviously a couple of other tips in. Rory's gone for an away win for the TSG, and also Zia Talks has also gone for a 3-1 Hoffenheim win too. So a lot of support for the TSG, but we'll have to see. As Cam says, it's never that easy to go and win at the Old Forestry, is it? So let's have a look then. So Heidenheim Dortmund, Cam, I'll let you lead out on this one then.
I think this one requires the least conversation, most likely, doesn't it, this weekend? I think Heidenheim, they've been the favourites to go down since, before pre-season, to be honest. Since the end of the relegation playoffs last year, they've been the favourites of going down, and they haven't proven anything other than that so far this season. I've gone for a comfortable 3-0 Dortmund win. I know Dortmund weren't at their best against St. Pauli, and Heidenheim are likely to make it more of a battle like St. Pauli didn't on the first match week. But I still think they've got more than enough quality, and I don't think they've got the quality that St. Pauli have to be able to make it into sort of a battle like they did. So, yeah, I'm going for 3-0 to Dortmund.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. We don't have to say that much on this game. I've gone for a 4-0 win, actually. I just don't see anything in Heidenheim, and I still feel as though they're having a hangover from what was ultimately a poor season, really, last year, wasn't it? They did lose Cienza as well. Let's not forget Southampton. I mean, he's the only one that's shown anything that remotely resembles quality so far this season. So,
and he still was never given game time last season properly, was it?
Yeah, it's true.
That's the most frustrating thing.
Yeah, I mean, Frankie Schmidt, obviously, he's never suffered a relegation, incredibly, in his 18 years at Heidenheim. But I think it is, the writing's on the wall already for me. I can actually see them getting a really, really low points tally this year, like 15 to 20 points or something. I just don't see enough fight. It's the same squad of players that were struggling for most of last season, basically, as well. Yep. They've not really been able to get anyone in apart from Ramaj, the goalkeeper, and then Ibrahimovic, who's never really shown it anywhere he's been, really. Obviously, the Bayern loanee. So I've gone for a 4-0 win. I think Dortmund are going to flex their muscles a little bit in this game. The likes of Guirassy should be good for at least a goal or two in this one. And I think a very comfortable BVB victory here. So, yeah, another game where probably most people will be tipping quite a heavy win as well. I mean, the Topspiel, probably, let's be honest, from a fan's perspective, it's going to be an amazing atmosphere there. Two of Germany's most decorated clubs. It is great to see the HSV back in the Bundesliga, even though performances so far haven't really matched enthusiasm, in truth. But they're getting used to a team. Let's not be too hard on the HSV yet. I mean, it's still very early days. I don't feel as though he's going with the right attack at all. I think we need to see Poulsen get more game time. I'd also like to see Peretz in net as well. I feel as though I would assume he can play in this game, because normally in German matches they allow loans to play against the club. So I would like to see a bit, Peretz and Poulsen start. Obviously, they did bring in a Vieira as well on loan from Arsenal too, which was a bit of a coup, really. Even though if he never really tore up any trees for Arsenal as such. Obviously, Bayern looking very good, but let's be honest, a lot of players will have been on international duty this weekend as well. Obviously, our own Harry Kane playing obviously for England as well, scoring a couple of goals. I mean, it's hard to look beyond the Rekordmeister to get another big win here. Really. I'm going to go for 4-0 Bayern. I would have gone for a few more probably if it wasn't for the international weekend. I can see them playing in third gear, in truth, in this game and still getting a 4-0 win, because the HSV are not ready yet. They're going to take a bit of time to get up to speed with this league. And, Merlin Poulsen needs to get to know his best team very quickly, basically. So I've gone for 4-0. What do you think, Cam?
Also 4-0. Just echoing the same points, really. It's a fixture that HSV wouldn't have wanted at this moment. It's two awful fixtures in a row, isn't it, for them, really? You don't want the derby in your first home match back in the season. and then Bayern just after the break. I just think it's too soon, and Bayern have got off to a lightning start. Probably the best iteration of Bayern that we've seen in a number of years. So yeah, I just think that it's going to be an easy one for the hosts, 4-0.
Yeah, definitely. A few other good tips as well. Runa's checking in as well, which is good to see. The Hjulmand it was close to spot on. You'll have to learn Danish next, Cam.
Add that to my list.
Yeah, definitely. A few other tips as well. Rory's gone for a 4-0 FCB, 4-1 from Zaya Talks as well. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a strong Bayern performance as they, as you say, Cam, they look invincible already at this early stage, even though Augsburg did give them a good game the other week. But I just feel as though the HSV are not ready really for this type of challenge. So let's move on to, for me, one of the most interesting looking fixtures. Two teams that have started really well, haven't they, Cam? I mean, St. Pauli, Augsburg. What are you going for in this one?
This was a really tough one because I've been so impressed with St. Pauli the first two games. They look a completely different side compared to last season. I think it was always going to be expected, to be honest. I mean, Alexander Blessian, the manager, all of his previous jobs, liked to play attacking football, was always known for that. And he was very much brought into St. Pauli to do a job. He had to keep them up after, obviously, Fabian Herzler was poached very much last minute going into a new season. It's the last thing you want, isn't it? And he did the job, kept them up, and now they're starting to play more expansive football. And even against Dortmund, yes, they made it a battle, they made it frustrating, but when they had chances to get forward, they got forward with pace, with energy, and with real drive, and I was really impressed with that. And then the same against Hamburg, whereas that was a game last year that St. Pauli wouldn't have won. It was as simple as that they won games like we described with Union earlier by moments of magic and by set pieces and by just being frustrating. But they're looking very expansive. But then the same can be said about Augsburg, who last season were up there as with one of the worst sides to watch in the league, weren't they? Got results, but ultimately it was why Jess Torrup lost his job in the end, wasn't it? The sort of performances on the pitch. But Wagner's got them playing really well. Is the Freiburg one really indicative of how good they are? Was it Freiburg being awful, or was it Augsburg playing well? But then the Bayern performance, yeah, again, they came back almost equalised towards the end, to be fair. And Bayern did make a sort of a go of bottling it themselves, to be fair. But Augsburg I've been impressed with, and I just think they're going to take a 2-1 win this weekend.
Oh, interesting one. Yeah, it is a good game, this. I mean, last year you would probably think, oh, let's give it a miss, this one, really, wouldn't you? Like, two, as you say, I think it was 2 of the 4 lowest scoring teams in the league last year. As you say, Augsburg did have a good season last year, but it looks as though Wagner's really kind of like bigged up the attacking intent that they show. They've already scored 5 goals in 2 difficult fixtures, so it's looking a lot better. I think Mert Kummer has looked pretty good as well, leading the line for them too, which is good to see. But I agree that I think Pauli have looked even better than what Augsburg have. I just feel as though the balance in that team, Huntonji has just been a revelation, really, hasn't he? But they've just got, Vasil, who I maintain is one of the best goalkeepers in the Bundesliga at the moment. And he's the kind of guy that could win them games on his own as well. But, it's just looking so good for them at the minute. But having said that, I feel as though Augsburg have still the more experienced side, and they've not really put much of a foot wrong, as you say, under Wagner. So I feel as though it's going to be an entertaining draw. I've gone for a 2-2 draw in this one. I think it's going to be well worth watching. Should be a great atmosphere as well on the foothills of the Reeperbahn up in Hamburg. So I feel as though it's going to be a good game, this one. Definitely probably in contrast to last year's 1-1 draw, which was relatively, chance-free, let's just say. Yeah. But it's going to be a good game, this one.
This is one of the games that we have to now pay £2.49 to watch in the UK, isn't it? So
is it? No way. Yeah. Well, thankfully, I'll get it on my DAZN subscription over in Germany. But
well, I used to watch DAZN before they blocked the use of VPNs. Don't tell anybody that I use a VPN.
They're getting it all now, aren't they?
Yeah. Now the Sunday matches are on Amazon and they're pay-per-view. Even if you've got an Amazon Prime subscription, you have to pay an extra £2.49 per match, which is just fantastic. But
well, at least you got the Friday night games on BBC anyway. So
yeah,
that's one thing. But It's getting crazy how many providers, even here in Germany, you've got so many like ZDF, ARD, Sat1, DAZN, Sky, RTL. It's just like absolutely, if you ever want to watch a game in Germany, you have to check basically every single channel for which match is actually, or which channel it's on. So, yeah. But, yeah, so yeah, a couple of tips. A few people tipping Pauli, so we've kind of got tips across the board here, really. Yeah, both good teams, and I think it's going to be really interesting, this match. So yeah, let's finish off with a game that, you know, again, is probably not going to get, in contrast to the other Sunday match game, it's two teams that haven't started the season that well, really. Gladbach have just been garbage, basically, haven't they? They really have not scored a single goal to take away joy yet so far. And without Kleindienst, they just look completely toothless up top. I mean, Tabakovic has to be one of the worst signings of the season for me. I mean, what did he do to earn a move to, you know, one of Germany's biggest traditional clubs? I really don't know, to be honest. But he's not looked that good so far. I mean, they do have the likes of Alexander Hack on a wrap, but it's just, I don't know. It's just Gladbach, isn't it? The last 2 or 3 seasons, it's just not working out. As for Bremen, they have a bit more to be positive about, in my opinion. They came back from the dead against Leverkusen to put obviously the second nail into the Ten Hag coffin with 10 men, basically. Obviously, they got Victor Boniface as well. Let's not forget that. I mean, what a signing he was. If you're talking about deadline day signings of the window, you know, I mean, you have to be looking at Victor Boniface that Werder Bremen managed to get through the door. I believe he's fit to start this game too. So I think that is an interesting one. I've got a feeling there's going to be goals in this as well. I just feel as though both teams will I don't know why. It's just one of those Bundesliga games where I just feel as though it's going to shock us all. I've gone for a 2-2 draw here as well. I feel as though Bremen still don't have enough defensively to win because they've looked woeful defensively, basically. And I think Gladbach, if they can't score in this game, then they might as well just sack all the strikers as far as I'm concerned. So I've gone for a 2-2. I'm hoping, maybe it's more hope rather than expectation, that one. What do you think, Cam?
Well, you mentioned the Bremen defence, but I still can't see Gladbach scoring. That's the issue. I just don't see where the goals are coming from. Bremen can hand it to Gladbach on a plate as much as they want, but if they can't finish the dinner, then what's the point? Like you said, very toothless without Kleindienst at the minute. And they've sort of reverted back to, because they had a decent spell at times last season, didn't they? But they seem to have reverted again back to Gladbach of the season before. And it's just so frustrating to watch. I mean, against Stuttgart, both teams were pretty poor, in all honesty, but Gladbach were worse. And that was why Stuttgart won the game. It wasn't because they were any good. It was because Gladbach were worse. And of course, you take those results, obviously, but I just don't see where the goals are coming from. And with Bremen, I think yet again, as with Stuttgart, they won't win this weekend because of how impressive they are. It's just one of those games where I just don't see where Gladbach are going to pull anything from. So I've gone for 2-0 to Bremen.
Wow, interesting one. Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people, different views on Bremen now to what it was after that first day 4-1 loss against Frankfurt, isn't it? But good to see things are back up and running in Bremen. So yeah, thanks a lot for that, guys. It was an absolute pleasure for you to join us. Thanks to the guys checking in there. Zia Talks as well. I don't know if you're new to the channel, but welcome. Great to get your regular kind of feedback on your predictions as well. Don't forget that if you enjoyed what you saw, if you're not already subscribed, make sure you do subscribe as well. We're slowly building a decent little following on the channel as well. So keep letting your friends know, let us know your results and what you think it's going to be this weekend. Don't forget, we're also a podcast as well, so you can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well. So check out that too and leave us a review. So thanks a lot for joining us again for this double header this Thursday evening, guys. And we'll see you on the other side of the weekend where we'll discuss the review show on Monday. So thanks a lot, guys, and see you then. Ciao, ciao. Servus.